The United States is now in the middle of a full blown constitutional crisis. If you have not been keeping up with this story, what happened? Donald Trump enacted the Alien Enemy Act of 1798 to deport and or detain and imprison people indefinitely without any due process. A judge immediately issued a ruling saying that this was not allowed. We have a timeline of events thanks to this New York Times article. At 5:26 and 5:44, two flights full of detained migrants left the United States bound for El Salvador. At 6:48, before the planes arrived in El Salvador, Judge Boasberg verbally directed the government to turn around the planes carrying people, saying, "You shall inform your clients of this immediately, and any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States." Essentially saying, you are not allowed to deport people under this act without a hearing. Except Trump's administration did not tell any of the planes to turn around, and at 7:26, the judge wrote his written order and posted it online. His written order differed from his verbal order in that he did not mention turning around planes. He just said nobody can be deported without a hearing. And then at 7:36, another deportation flight left anyway, which is roughly 45-ish minutes after the verbal order and 10 minutes after the posted written order online. Now, if this wasn't bad enough that the administration is ignoring a judge's order, before anyone tries to say, well, maybe, the timing was just bad and they didn't really get the messaging there in time, no, because multiple Trump officials are now triple downing on this. Trump's border czar has said, I quote, "I don't care what the judges think." And Trump's appointee to run the DOJ, Pam Bondi, has said their administration will not comply with the judge's orders, and that they will continue to deport people without due process despite the judge's orders to pause this. Now, this is, of course, blatantly illegal. The president is not allowed to ignore judicial rulings. The president does not make laws. He does not enforce laws, and he does not determine what is legal, in spite of what Donald Trump is saying. So what should happen here is the judge should send U.S. Marshals to arrest Donald Trump. The snag in this whole thing is that Pam Bondi, the head of the Department of Justice, is the one who pays U.S. Marshals. So that probably isn't going to happen, even though that is legally what is supposed to happen. The other thing that the judge can do is, if the U.S. Marshals won't carry out their duty to enforce judges' rulings, the judge can deputize people, private citizens, the military, whoever, to carry out those orders. Two problems with this is, one, finding somebody willing to do it, whether the judge is willing to do it or anyone being deputized is willing to do it, because arresting the president is a big fucking deal. The other thing is, Donald Trump could just pardon himself and say, I'm pardoning myself for breaking the law and ignoring the judge's rulings, and there's no one really to stop him. The other option is the judge could issue a civil contempt charge, meaning anyone who does not comply will be fined or sued, which Donald Trump cannot pardon, but again, finding this, who knows? Which is why this is a full-blown constitutional crisis, because this has never happened before. Donald Trump is flagrantly violating the Constitution, violating the authority of other branches of government, and essentially doing whatever the flying fuck he wants. So who knows how it's going to be handled from here on out. If nothing happens, America is no longer a democracy. It is now an authoritarian dictatorship. 100%, no questions asked. It means Donald Trump is above the law. And just in case you're still here, they're doing this when it comes to arresting students and protesters as well, with Marco Rubio saying they're going to keep doing it and just arresting protesters, even though there is supposed to be free speech in America and protesting is a legal protected right. They don't care about that law either.